May it please the court, my name is Timothy Wan, and I, along with my colleagues Chapin Zerner and Emily Silvers, are appearing herein for the people of the city of New York against the defendant Goldilocks. Your Honor, imagine that you and your spouse and your child move to the serene quiet of the woods in a humble cabin to escape the hustle and bustle of the city, and while you take your family out for a walk, a vandal breaks into your home, destroys your property, and when you return, they've crawled into your bed and, get this, fallen asleep in your bed. Your privacy is invaded, your security is jeopardized, and the law is broken. Your Honor, today will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty of the three following counts. First, violating Penal Law Section 140.1, criminal trespass to the third degree, which states a person is guilty of criminal trespass when he or she knowingly enters or remains unlawfully in a building. Penal Law 140.15, the second count, criminal trespass in the second degree, which states a person is guilty of criminal trespass when he or she knowingly enters and remains lawfully in a dwelling. And three, Penal Law 145.05, criminal mischief in the third degree, which states a person is guilty of criminal mischief with the intent to damage the property of another and having no right to do so, nor any reasonable ground to believe that he or she has a right, damages the property of another exceeding the value of $250. You'll hear from three witnesses for the prosecution today as well. First, you'll hear from Father Bear, the co-homeowner. He'll testify as to what he saw, that he witnessed the defendant in his home, in his son's bed when he came home. He'll further testify the chairs around the kitchen table were intact when he left, and one was destroyed when he returned. You'll also hear from the huntsman, another resident of the woods. He'll testify about the growing number of home invasions in the area, especially by those who would otherwise appear unthreatening, and others that he's witnessed firsthand who have broken into homes to claim them. He'll state that there are no other home invaders currently being prosecuted because so-called vandals and so-called perpetrators are also being called the fairest in the land. There's obvious bias, and that obvious bias should not continue. We need to make an example to stop these kinds of trespassing. Finally, the prosecution will call Geppetto, an expert carpenter. He'll testify the chair the defendant intentionally destroyed cost over $250, thus complying with Penal Law 145.05's requirements. Your Honor, the defense counsel will likely call the defendant herself, and honestly, we can't wait. I'm literally salivating to cross-examine her. There's literally nothing she could possibly say that can exonerate herself to support a finding of not guilty. Defense is also going to call someone named Jack. Judge this witness has a credibility problem. He's been arrested for larceny, murder of a giant in his Beanstalk home, and also has been accused of spousal abuse against his wife, Mrs. Spratt. Finally, the defendant's going to call someone that they're going to attempt to get in as an expert witness, the Sheriff of Nottingham, and will easily show that he has his own agenda and whose testimony will and should be disregarded. People are confident that after hearing the testimony of all the witnesses today and after evaluating the law, you'll find the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Thank you.